Thank you for having me today. It's really my pleasure to be here. This is my 8th year as being a Deschutes County Commissioner serving you. My constituents, I think we have like 210,000 now. It really has been a pleasure. One of the first things I want to mention today is that the courthouse will be dedicated on August 14th. Friday afternoon, I believe it's at 3 o'clock. I actually was really lucky about the courthouse. We had 8 legislators that had written letters to the state how we needed funding for our courthouse. We were asking for $25 million. And the weekend of the Sisters Rodeo, I was told by one of those politicians that I better drive back over to Salem because we weren't on the list of courthouse funding out of, like, let's say the Christmas tree bell. And also our lobbyist had said the same thing. He goes, I don't know what's going on. So I just happened to ask one friend and she couldn't go. I asked another friend and she went with me. She was friends with Elizabeth Steiner, who was the head of Ways and Means. Elizabeth came out of a meeting, had 5 minutes for us, and ended up we got $15 million. I know, it's just how things happen. And the really amazing thing after this is I'm on a county commissioners meeting with the whole state, and Brandon, who's the head of that group, said, I don't know how Deschutes County got a dime. I don't know how they got a dime, but you know what? It was called divine intervention. So that's my really good news about our courthouse. It is getting finished. So you also probably want to know about our Veterans Village. We copied Clackamas County in 2020. I thought we'd have it done in like 3 months. It took a year to get that done, but we have had over 40 veterans that have graduated, 40 plus veterans that have graduated on, they were homeless, and they've graduated on to permanent housing. I happen to be the only commissioner that voted to put bathrooms in each one of the 22 cabins. We do have 22 now. And because I raised boys, I knew they needed bathrooms. So Eric Tobiasen, who was the chair of the Ben Heroes Foundation at that moment in time, said, you know, he knew that would be a very that's not where you save money. You give people dignity. These are veterans. And the first man that moved in was a diabetic veteran and could not believe that he had his own private bathroom. So that's something that I think is really, it's an accomplishment. I also was the only commissioner that wanted to save Worrell Park, which is right next to the county. It's that over an acre lava outcropping in downtown Bend. You can see it when you drive down Wall Street. Anyhow, ended up saving that with the help of the source and kids at the high school. Signed up with kids at the high school, said, no, we've got to save this. And Donna Lewis, who worked for the Forest Service, now a retired person who's serving on Bend Parks and Rec, took that on as one of her personal things too. It was named after Bill Worrell, a member of our community. I see his wife, every once in a while I see her with her grandchildren and things, and it's just so nice to know that we saved that. It's a lava outcropping. You'll see deer on it. There are ponderosas that are growing crookedly on that. If I turn around at my desk, I can see it out my window, and it's just a great reminder that it's history, and we didn't take it. It was going to take 3,000 dump truck loads later. Can you imagine how long we would have had to close those buildings down? So that's another, I think, a great accomplishment. Tonight, I get to recognize David Bishop. He served for 26 years on our fair board. An amazing community man, and they told me I only have like a minute to say something good, but 26 years he served, so thank you, David Bishop. If you see him in the community, please thank him. Amazing man. Something relevant to Redmond is Helmholtz. I don't know if you all drive towards Sisters area once in a while, but there are some really nasty accidents out on Helmholtz. I'm the COAC chair for the region, and so we just had another accident the other day, and I have people that send me these information, and then I have someone who now is high up in ODOT, Omar, and I go, Omar, please, we just had another really bad accident. And I go, is there any way we can change the speed limit? Because people are driving in from the Sisters direction, they're going 55 miles an hour, and they're hitting that. In fact, a week ago, I was going to the Fair Association meeting at night, 5:30 at night, and sure enough, someone crossed right in front of me, crossing Helmholtz. I had to slam on my brakes. So We definitely have got to make that intersection has not gotten the funding. It needs to completely fix it. But if we could slow down, I believe that would be an important improvement in accidents going that way. Remember a year or so ago, a school bus got hit? Yeah, no, it's a really bad intersection out there. So it's on the plan. And then for something more relevant to Redmond also is we had $197 million that are being distributed by Oregon Health Authority. And I'm a big proponent. It was Hospice of Redmond. They have a new name now, ClearPath. Love them, love what they do. And I said, oh my gosh, please apply for grant funding. And they actually applied for a couple different spots. Now I heard from our county health department, they didn't get the funding they wanted for behavioral health in Lapine. Bend does not qualify because the population is over 50,000, but Redmond qualifies, everything qualifies. And the only money I really heard about, significant money, a couple million went to something in Jefferson County, and that commissioner was furious about that. He thought that was inappropriate. So the good news, I go to these meetings it's called LGAC over in Salem. I know you have to be present. I go to these meetings, and I'm sitting by Dr. Hothy one day at the meeting, and Dr. Hothy's husband is one of the part owners of the Blazers. So she's sitting there, and I go, Dr. Hothy, I need to send you a message. So she gives me her cell phone. She doesn't know what her number is, but I have her number. So I called Dr. Hothy 2 weeks ago, and I go, Dr. Hothy, I am not happy with that grant distribution, $197 million. I pray to God that Burns, one of their clinics got some funding. I haven't confirmed it yet, but there are rural health cares that really need that extra money. Well, I called her, and believe it or not, she called me back. And she called me back at the same time my husband was calling me on the other phone. Now, which call did I take? Yes, Dr. Hothy. She's going to have me meet with the people that did the grant awarding so that the next grant is going to turn around really soon. And I'm going to be able to share what I learned with ClearPath and with our county so that we actually can get some of that funding. It's a lot of money that I don't want it to go to waste. As I tell people the story, I was born in Pendleton. In 1923, the Pendleton Hospital was licensed for 75 beds. In the meantime, in 2004, they built a brand new hospital. It's huge. Guess how many licensed beds there are in that hospital?
30.
What?
30.
30. Great guess. It's actually 24. 100 years ago, we had 75 licensed beds. Now we have 24. I tell this story all the time. I tell it to Providence. I tell it to Kaiser. And they go, Patty, do you want us to build a bed over there or a hospital over there? And I go, no, we need more beds here in Central Oregon because we serve such a large community. But isn't that amazing? You know what that means to that community is that the doctors supporting the healthcare system all leave. The specialists, there's no beds in the hospital. So that's part of what I've been talking about for the last couple years. Let's see, anything else? Healthcare is really important. The fire itself, I was level 1. 11 months ago, I was in the flat fire. I was level 0 at 2:45 Friday afternoon, and at 5:45 Friday night, I was level 3. So that's how fast that fire flipped, the weather. And this time, we had over 1,700 people working on the fire. I believe we've lost maybe 2 homes. That's what I've heard. Anyway, it's been incredibly challenging. But before this fire hit, that it was nature that caused the fire. Well, we've had 9 fires from Jefferson County that have impacted my neighborhood, 9 fires over the last so many years. So I actually was leaving messages for the Jefferson County Sheriff and the fire department in Jefferson County and saying, folks, please don't let people camp on property that's not code and it's not proper. That's what started the flat fire a year ago. People were illegally living on private land. It wasn't public land, but it was private land, but it was illegal. So it's, and just like we have a lot of issues here with our east side of Redmond, the managed camp is really ready to go. We do have a service provider that is ready to start that program, and they do understand that a lot of people need mental health help and substance use disorder help, and they know that. So really would love that managed camp to open up sooner rather than later. I just feel like, you know, my Saturday morning a couple weeks ago started out with smoke right behind a couple planes. And if you all remember of, what was it? Let's see, I think it was like July 2nd of 2020. We had a big fire there, and 25 flights were diverted. That is like my nightmare. I do not want our Redmond airport to have that diversion factor. I think an antique fire truck even burned up out, putting the fire out that the homeless started that day. So that was Monday. I asked the county commissioners to vote and make fireworks illegal. And neither one of them would vote with me on Monday, but Tuesday we had 4 fires. So guess what? On Wednesday, everybody voted to make fireworks illegal. So and that, you know, God does work in amazing ways. So I want you also to know that during COVID, the county we're self-insured. And our health fund actually went down to like $1 million. Was I losing sleep over that? Yes. Oh my gosh. You know, people couldn't go to the doctor for a while, and then complications happened, and we went through 16 million, we were down to $1 million. It was amazing. Well, that fund is now going to, I believe, end June 30th of our fiscal year end. It's going to end at least at $21 million now. So we're back in a great spot again. So thank you for that. It's really challenging when you're working on finances and you're trying to keep your county. I believe our county finances are probably in the best shape of all 36 counties. We're really fortunate here. Our tourism numbers actually were coming in really on the positive note until the last couple of weeks. So thank you. Thank you for all the tourists that bring their money. But they also get a lot of speeding tickets and things too. So anyway, and now that we're going to have all these cameras in Redmond, I'm waiting to see those numbers pop in because they're saying it's going to be quite overwhelming. The county is already starting, I believe today, remodeling our office for 5 commissioners. So that is happening. Don't forget, August the 14th will be the dedication at the courthouse if you want to come and be part of that ceremony. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I was on the art committee for the airport. Now, when you see the art, just know that there were like maybe 8 other people on the committee too. So, some of the art, yeah, there were 8 people. Mel, who's a wonderful man who runs the Canyon Art Association, love Mel. We actually, we were pretty much together on our art selections, but we didn't always, I think, you know, it's going to be fascinating to see what the community's response is. All I know is that Zach Bass went across in front of my office and he goes, "Patty, you can't have a bunch of horse art because at the airport." And I'm like, "Zach, I'm more rounded than that." Anyway, I don't believe we have any horse art. So how did that happen? And I did have some. We do have something from Chester, you know, the wood carver. He's done this amazing giant 6.5-foot ponderosa pine project that he's doing. But honestly, I wanted his simple project by the escalator, which I thought was much simpler. I just liked it better. It was a deer scene. I mean, he does amazing work. So you're going to all look forward to seeing that next year.
Why can't we have horse art?
I don't know. I was outvoted. I don't know. I just thought, you know, we have over 110,000 horses in this region, a tremendous boost to our economy. And I don't know, Ron, how it happened, but it did happen. So anyway, Zach did get his wish. My office has like Sisters Rodeo posters, and then I have a scarf frame that's equestrian, you know, but I have some landscaping things in my office too. So anyway, I guess he just walks by and sees all the Sisters posters and he thinks, you know, it's all going to be horses and rodeo. So it isn't. But are there any questions? Yes.
So in November, we're going to be voting on whether to adopt a map for the 5 county seats. So to me, it looks pretty well balanced, but what are people objecting to?
You know what? It got labeled gerrymandered, but it's really not. It's very balanced. I'm not supposed to say this. I used to live in LA County. There are 10 million people, and guess how many supervisors, commissioners they have in LA County? 10 million people. Too many. 5. 5 for 10 million. I don't know where the lines were. I always knew Catherine Barger was mine. Makul Antonovich was my commissioner or supervisor before. So to me, it's incredibly well balanced. Incredibly well balanced. I feel that it makes a lot of sense. If you look at the concentration of Bend city councilors now, for the most part, they're all from the same little neighborhood. So I just feel like, somehow it worked out. I live out in Sisters. Commissioner DeBone lived in La Pine. You know how things work out. We gave a balanced perspective of the county. So, I thank you for the question.
If it's not approved, what's happening?
Well, then we'll go back to people will. Everyone will vote, and you won't have a commissioner, and people can all run from the same neighborhood, and it won't matter.
Are there people actively opposing the map because of that?
Yes, there's a group that is, and there's a group that is supporting it. So, if you read the voters pamphlet, which I did the other day, Commissioner Chang, the last 2 paragraphs said clearly, well, we're going to work on getting a map done. And to me, the map feels right. Bend has 2 spots. Redmond has its spot. Sisters, Terrebonne, they have their spot. And then we have South. And it's balanced as best it can be. And then when we have the next census in 2030, we'll be able to use those numbers and maybe rechange some of the work. But what they really tried to do, and what I think is important, is they kept the precincts whole. What if oh my gosh, do you guys know how many different regions and districts? There's the senatorial district, and then there's the representative district, and then there's anyway, it just kept it really much simpler to keep precincts balanced, using the precincts.
Your reference to self-insurance, is the source of that in tourism dollars?
No,
because you made reference to tourism.
Oh, tourism does, a quarter of our traffic tickets are from tourists. So they bring a lot of money in, our lodging tax revenue, which is actually going to be over 13 million this year for Deschutes County. Actually, it's coming in a bit higher than what we had projected. We always try and be very conservative with our financing. So tourism does bring in tax revenue from tickets.
Okay, but that isn't the sole source of funding
No.
for the self-insurance program.
No. The self-insurance, actually, each department is charged fees for their employees. They all contribute to that fund.
So that's part of the budget.
Right, it's our budgeting process, yes. But the really wonderful thing is we went self-insured a long time ago. We have our own pharmacy. It's amazing what you can accomplish. We do health classes, and great. Oh, I did forget one thing. I was talking, is it Kirsten? Mm-hmm. I was talking to her earlier, and I was telling her that a couple of weeks ago, we had a presentation from our epidemiologists. We have 2 doctors that work on substance abuse, marijuana use, and we had a presentation 2 years ago. The impacts from marijuana use have just gotten over the top, horrible. The THC is like way up here, and for especially the developing brain of young men from 12 to 28. If you can go online and see that presentation, I think it would really wake you up with what marijuana is honestly doing. More people, I just saw it yesterday, more people are getting stoned every day than they're drinking now. It's gone the other way. And they don't understand the complications. And then 2 weeks ago, I watched a presentation from the University of Florida on marijuana use in pregnant women. And that's frightening also. And then pregnant women, maybe they're using it for nausea or something at the first, but there are complications there. They're not sure how bad they are, but it doesn't look good. And then women are smoking marijuana when they're breastfeeding. It's not good. Yeah, we don't have enough information.
So in that regard, can the county or can the state prescribe THC levels, or that would like minimize the impact?
You know what? That's an excellent, that's a great question. That's something that maybe the health department, OHA could get behind and get our legislators behind that and make it illegal to be sold in the state. But you know that the cartels are still here.
Yeah.
The cartels are still here.
Well, yeah, that too, but you know, having the THC levels under a certain,
Right.
let's just say a more appropriate level.
Yes.
I mean, they do it in other countries.
I know. We definitely need to do something. I just,
So right now, there isn't
no, and it just they keep making it higher and higher, and yeah, it's not healthy. 2 years ago, we had 6 young kids from Crook County that all had the psychotic disorder from marijuana use. 6 of them, and honestly, I have not heard if those 6, if they were ever able to transfer back. But when, yes, you know, their parents probably had no idea. They think, you know, they're smoking dope of 60 years ago, and clearly it's not dope of 60 years ago. But 6 of them had the psychotic disorder. A lot of times people will go to our jail, and our jail has drug recognition experts, but sometimes they'll come in and they won't. It used to be they couldn't figure out what was going on, and it would be marijuana. So we have an excellent program in our jail. In fact, the new head of our jail, Captain Michael Gill, who just took over from Captain Schultz, who was wonderful. We have a whole program trying to help people that are in our jail. I got attacked, oh gosh, it was maybe a year and a half ago at our state meeting. I said that 80% of the people in our jail were mentally ill or substance use disorder. And a couple of sheriffs are sitting in the meeting and they go, no, Patty, that can't be right. Well, Captain Schultz was watching the meeting and he did an analysis of every one of the inmates. They had 232 inmates in the jail. He and 2 other people that worked in the jail did an analysis of each individual inmate, and it was 93%. 93%. Oh my gosh. And then they did it again, and I believe it was 92%. So my 80% was underestimated. And then, of course, I've done several tours at Deer Ridge. You all know the state hospital, or state prison that is half empty. It comes up on my Facebook feed. I can get a job there. But, you know, I was meeting with the superintendent last summer. She gave us a couple-hour tour, and she goes, I just don't understand. She came from the Vail jail, and she goes, oh my gosh, the mental illness, since she's been working in this profession, has just gone loud. But marijuana is not good if young men are using it. It really is incredibly impactful. So those are my stories. Is there any, do you guys want to know any jokes, anything? I just found a horse to buy, and my sister said, oh my gosh, if you ever want to get another horse, make sure it looks exactly the same as the one you have. So I found a horse, and her name is Don't Smash the Jukebox. And she looks exactly like my horse that I rode in the Redmond Parade, whose name is Living on a Jet Plane. So I'll just say, honey, did you think? Oh, anyway, that's my joke for the day.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you guys.